Everybody knows John Wayne Gacy, Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer. But what about the other guys? The lesser known, that are just as evil. Come along and explore them and learn some hard lessons with me, Brett, and my co-host and beautiful wife, Deanna. Each week, we will be exploring the dark minds of these people, also paranormal, conspiracy theory, and some cryptids. We hope you have as much fun with this as we do.
Hey classmates, it's Deanna.
Hey guys, this is Brett, and welcome back to episode 35 of Hard Lessons.
Cool.
Last week I screwed up, but I read it this week right.
How'd you screw up last week?
Because I said 33, nope, 34.
Oh, okay.
And so I thought I'd...
Bless you.
Sorry, I couldn't hit the pause button quick enough. If you heard me sneeze, please. So yeah, episode 35.
Awesome.
Heck yeah. So Teach, how was your week?
It was okay. How was yours?
It was good.
Awesome.
It was good. I had a good time last night, hanging out with family and friends, celebrating Teach's birthday.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Got to see folks we hadn't seen in a long time, hug necks.
Absolutely did.
Celebrate the most supportive woman I know.
Cool.
So, just want to jump on in?
Sure.
All right. The more you know.
The less you need.
You're going to like this one. You're going to want to take a trip. This is this comes to us from the country of Italy. In the small town of, good Lord, Caldari de Ortona, there is a fountain.
Like a water fountain, Coke fountain.
Like a water fountain out in the center of the city.
Okay.
But it doesn't flow with water.
Is it wine?
Free wine.
What?
Free wine called the Fontana de Vino. It is a collab between Dora Sarchese Vineyard and an unnamed nonprofit group.
So you can literally just walk up and get you a cup of wine and keep walking?
Keep walking.
I like it.
I told you you're going to want to go.
Unless it's red wine.
It didn't say. It didn't say. I can take a second and look it up real quick. Let's see.
No, I mean, you don't have to do that right now.
Oh, well, too late.
Yeah, I've got that song, Red, Red Wine, in my head.
Red, red wine. Yeah, it's red wine.
Red wine. Maybe it's sweet red wine or something.
Maybe so. You can just literally walk up, stick your cup under there.
That's not what I was thinking. That is...
It's not kind of what I was thinking either, but still.
But still, it's free.
It's free.
It's worth the taste.
Yes, ma'am. All right, ready?
Yep. All right, class is in session.
Okay, so last week, Teach drew out serial killer. The last serial killer that we did was Pee Wee Gaskins up in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought we would come closer to home and do a Texas serial killer.
Sweet.
So this week we are going to discuss Kenneth McDuff.
Okay.
The Broomstick Killer.
Oh, gosh. Did he kill people with a broomstick? Did he shove the broomstick places? Curious minds want to know.
Well, hopefully by the end of this, I will answer your questions.
All right.
The term serial killer, which I think the FBI has changed up because it's come from the FBI website, is defined as the unlawful murdering of 2 or more people by the same offender in separate events with a cooling down event in between. So used to, it was 3 or more, but they revised it to 2 or more.
Probably a good thing.
Yes, ma'am. So Kenneth Allen McDuff was born on March 21st, 1946 in Rosebud, Texas.
Where's that?
Down south. Not about probably, I think, if I remember right, like 40 miles east of Waco.
Oh, okay. East Texas.
Yeah. Central East Central, something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
And, spoiler alert, he's dead. He died on November 17th, 1998 in Huntsville, Texas. So that should give you a clue on how he died.
Oh.
Yes,
ding,
ma'am.
ding, ding.
Now, later on, we will have a bonus, the more you know. But I'll let you know when we get there.
Good gosh, okay.
His parents were John Allen and Addie McDuff. John owned a concrete business. Addie was a homemaker, but she also earned the nickname Pistol Packing Mama.
Oh, okay. Wow.
She got this name from an incident where Allie confronted a school bus driver who had kicked one of her 6 children off of the bus.
Well, I wonder what the sweet baby did.
In her mind, it wasn't worth getting kicked off the bus for.
Well, no, nothing is. Kids are never wrong.
Ever. But through this action, we kind of see a little bit of what Kenneth was brought up in, and violence solves everything.
The great role models.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you want it, just take it.
Yeah, that's right. They make you mad, you pull a pistol on them.
Exactly. So at Rosebud High School, Kenneth earned a reputation of being a bully.
No.
I know this shocks everybody.
Not poor Kenneth. Poor baby.
He was probably the one being picked on. And
Yes, it's the school's fault.
It's the school's
fault. The teachers aren't paying attention.
Exactly.
I hope everybody knows I'm kidding. I'm being sarcastic about that.
It's not a video podcast, but yes, I'm sure everybody could hear the sarcasm in your voice.
Well, I, have been told that I have a very
intimidating,
I don't even know how to explain it, but
yeah. Well, for those that do not know Teach that well on a personal level, she's not intimidating. If she can put up with me for 22 years, she's not intimidating.
No, I just like people to do their jobs.
Pretty plain and simple.
It's simple.
However, Kenneth would not pick on bigger kids because he got beat up by a bigger, stronger student and athlete named Tommy Salmons. So he would always pick on smaller, weaker kids.
Of course, that's literally the definition of a bully.
Go after those weaker than you.
Yeah.
The Sheldon Coopers of the world, if you will.
Exactly. And it literally all goes back to, just because they have a better life or they act better or whatever doesn't mean you need to pick on them.
Exactly. Kenneth was big, but he was not strong. So, after he lost that fight to the bigger, stronger, athletic, and popular Tommy Salmons, Kenneth was embarrassed and dropped out of school.
Oh.
Just give up and walk away.
Yeah, how embarrassing to actually get your butt kicked.
Uh-huh.
Poor guy.
He then becomes a laborer for his father's concrete company. So, at
So
least he's
how old was he at this point?
16.
Oh, well,
16, 17.
you know, there you go.
Yeah. Fast forward a few years, and in 1964, at the age of 18, Kenneth was convicted of 12 burglaries across 3 separate counties: Bell County, Milam County, and Falls County.
Now, did his mama go and get her hold of them cops?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I think she kind of learned her lesson by this point in time and knew that Kenneth was a turd.
Oh, okay. Her eyes had been opened to the ways of her children,
Exactly.
or at least that one.
At least this one.
Okay.
For those 12 burglaries, he was sentenced to 12 4-year prison terms. So 48 years.
Yeah.
To be served concurrently.
Good.
Now,
Good thinking.
definition time. Concurrently means that they were all to be served at the same time.
Yeah, back to back.
Not consecutively
Oh.
is one after another. That would be the
Oh.
back to back to back. So concurrently, he's doing all 48, all 12 sentences
At once.
at once. So 4 years instead of 48 years if it would have been consecutively.
Oh.
So there's a little mess up there. A lot of people would have been alive still, possibly,
Uh-huh.
if he would have served 48 years. But he made parole in 1965.
Well, of course he did. I mean, it's only 4 years.
Yeah. Shortly after paroled, Kenneth returned to prison after getting into a fight, but was paroled again in less than a year.
Did he get his butt kicked?
Possibly. There wasn't a whole lot of information on that
okay.
fight. So, now he hasn't had any murder convictions yet.
But let the bitterness and hate stew over him being caught. You know, he probably thought he never did anything wrong.
Mm-hmm. While in prison, several inmates said that Kenneth openly bragged about raping and murdering 2 young women. But this was never looked into.
Oh, yeah, because it's just inmates talking. You know, you got to make yourself look better and meaner.
That's right. That's right.
Mm-mm.
On August 6th, 1966, Kenneth and one of his co-workers, Roy Del Green, spent the day pouring concrete for Kenneth's dad.
Okay.
It's August.
It's
They're in
hot.
Texas. You know, been pouring concrete all day long, finishing concrete. That's hard work. I've done it once in my life and never want to again. That ranks right up there with the time that I helped my dad and brother roof our house. Did it once, don't ever want to go back and do it again.
It's hard stuff.
Mm-hmm. I knew right then I was built for
Inside
not labor,
work?
not hard labor. I was not going to go to jail. I was not going to make small rocks out of big rocks and dust out of the small ones.
You've been a librarian.
I never thought of that.
Well, I'm kind of glad you didn't. Well, I don't think we would be having this conversation.
Good point. Good point. Yeah, good. I never thought about breaking the law, well, except for that one time I stole a pack of gum that Mom wouldn't buy me at the grocery store. But I got so scared that as soon as we got home, I think there was like 24 pieces. You remember the small chiclets? I don't remember how many was in there, but I chewed all of them at one time.
Oh my gosh. How old were you?
And Nicole wasn't born yet, so I was younger than 8.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, sis. So, yeah.
Okay, so they got through pouring this concrete.
Pouring
hot
the concrete.
Day. Of course, they gotta
We've got to blow off some steam.
That's
cool
right.
down. So they're out driving around, and Kenneth explained to Roy, "I'm going to look for a girl." Roy just thought maybe he's going to see if he can shoot a shot and
pick one up.
Yeah,
have a little bit of fun.
So they came across a group of 3 individuals.
Okay.
17-year-old Robert Brand,
Okay.
his 15-year-old cousin Marcus Dunham,
Okay. Marcus is a boy.
and
Oh.
Robert's 16-year-old girlfriend,
Oh no.
Edna Louise. And so here is a picture of Robert, 16.
Doesn't look like he's a killer.
Well, no, he's going to be a victim.
Oh, Robert, I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. Here is Marcus, his 15-year-old cousin. And here is Edna, the girlfriend.
Oh, I feel like something bad's about to happen.
Hold on to that feeling.
I don't really want to.
Kenneth ordered Robert and Marcus into the trunk of his car. So Kenneth's car.
Okay.
And put Edna in the trunk of Robert's car.
Okay.
Roy. How could I not say that name?
It sounds weird when we say it. I think it's just because where we are.
I guess so. Roy, Kenneth's friend,
Okay, yes.
drove Kenneth's car, and Kenneth drove Robert's out into an empty field. So
Okay.
Roy is following behind with
Okay.
the two boys in the trunk. They go out to this
bad.
empty field.
This is bad.
Once there, despite Robert and Marcus, the two cousins, begging and pleading, Roy pulls out a .38 revolver and shoots them both twice in the head, killing them both instantly.
Robert did this?
Kenneth.
No, Kenneth. Gosh dang, I'm getting them all confused.
Yeah. So
Kenneth.
Yeah, Kenneth is
Kenneth
the bad guy.
shoots Robert and Marcus twice in the head each.
Yes, in the trunk of his own vehicle, his vehicle.
Yeah, Kenneth's vehicle.
Edna is still in the trunk of Robert's vehicle.
Man, a 38? Yikes.
Yeah.
He wanted the job done.
He did. Edna was pulled out of the trunk at gunpoint, forced to strip off all of her clothes.
Oh, naturally, because you got to be naked.
And was raped by Roy and Kenneth.
Okay.
Repeatedly and maliciously.
They were not gentle.
Yeah. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Kenneth then told Roy, we cannot leave any
So they
witnesses.
basically tortured her.
Kenneth told Roy, we cannot leave a witness. Find me something to strangle her with.
Why didn't he just shoot her? He had a gun.
So Roy takes off his belt and hands it to him. And Kenneth hands it back to him, walks over to the back seat of his car, and pulls out a broom that they had used in the finishing of the concrete work. Took the broom part off and took the 3-foot long handle of the broom and strangled her with it. Hence the name, the Broomstick Killer.
Wouldn't it have just been easier to use the belt?
Well, I would think so, but he wanted to be down close and personal and watch the life leap out of her. The belt you could just tighten up and walk away, basically. The broomstick, you're down there on her, holding it down.
Oh. Okay.
Next morning, after the bodies had been found and the news reported of the murders, Roy started getting a conscience and was feeling guilty and walked to the police department and turned himself in.
Good for him.
In exchange for testimony against Kenneth, Roy was given a 25-year sentence and was paroled in 1979 and apparently went on to live a normal life because there's no information found about him. So apparently that
He learned it.
he learned his lesson.
Pretty sad he had to learn a lesson like that by taking that lady's life and doing those things to her.
Mm-hmm.
What about baby Kenneth?
Kenneth went to trial because he would not plead guilty and was found guilty.
No way.
Shocker of the century, and was sentenced to death row.
Okay, that's literally all those. Not in that way. That was going to be out saying it very, very wrong, because taking 3 lives is
horrid.
But the definition of serial killer in our minds is like what we see on TV, or like what's happening in Austin, where you don't know and it happens. I don't know that this is literally considered a serial killer. So there's that. So he was sentenced to death row.
However,
oh my gosh, I should have waited.
thanks to the U.S. Supreme Court ruling in 1972, Furman versus Georgia, death row was abolished because death was considered harsh and unusual punishment. So in 1972, all across the United States, death row was abolished.
Because none of them Supreme Court justices at the time had any family ever murdered.
Probably not. So Kenneth's sentence was commuted to life in prison with the possibility of parole.
Oh, let me guess. Baby Kenneth got paroled.
With the growing problem of prison overcrowding,
oh my gosh,
Kenneth was paroled on October 1989.
Of course.
Yeah, there was one article that said that that the prison overcrowding was so great that they were paroling 150 inmates a day. So that's when they started building all the new prisons across Texas.
Well, it makes sense. But let's parole
a murderer.
A triple murder. Let's parole that one.
Yeah.
Because the dude over there that stole a piece of gum, no, we're going to keep him. Because
he hasn't learned his lesson yet.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he was in prison for 20 some odd years.
Idiots.
He was in prison for 20 some odd years. So, I'm going to say that there's a chance that he has been redeemed.
Okay. Keep thinking that, huh?
Yeah.
You got to have hope in people. There's hope. Good in everybody.
That's right. So, although officials never could connect Kenneth to the murder, the body of Seraphia Parker was found just 3 days after he was paroled in the same area that he was paroled to. And her death was in the same manner as
Louise.
Edna Louise.
Somebody did not know how to connect dots back then, did they?
They did not.
It wasn't numbered. That was what the problem was.
They didn't have Spence.
They didn't have
from Criminal Minds.
Oh,
Dr.
okay.
Spence.
Yes.
Dr. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
They didn't have that hymn yet.
All right. I guess he had all that pent up and he needed to get it out.
Yeah. Just 3 days after he was paroled, her body was found. So
this is the list of people. Now it makes more sense.
This is his known victims.
Wow, he was busy after he got paroled.
He was a busy man.
So this was the one?
Well, now we're going to talk about her next. There's not a picture of Seraphina.
Okay.
Or I haven't found one.
That's because they didn't connect that one to him. Oh, okay.
Exactly. So during a roadblock on October of 1991, a woman is seen trying to kick out Kenneth's window and is yelling and screaming. She was never seen alive again.
Okay, so there was a
roadblock.
A roadblock for why?
Back in the late 80s, early 90s, they would just block roads and have like DWI checks and stuff like that. I can remember seeing them all the time.
So somebody saw a lady trying to kick out a window, and yet, well, that's That's kind of odd. Why should we be seeing this woman trying to kick out a window and she's screaming? Oh, we'll just let that dude take care of it because apparently there's something going on.
Yeah, we got bigger fish to fry.
Hey, that could have been the first Gabby Petito issue right there.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how many other women lost their lives.
Well, and you're quickly about to learn why they didn't put a whole lot of time into this one.
Okay.
The woman who was later identified as Brenda Thompson, so this is Miss Brenda here.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Was a local sex worker.
Like, because she didn't walk the correct side of the street.
Exactly.
She wasn't worth
and
worrying about.
They are considered less dead, basically, back in the day. And I got to give a huge shout out to the ladies at Nosy Nancy's, because every article that I read called them another name. And so I was like, so since this is in the article, should I call them this or should? And they're like, no, sex worker. I was like, okay, just wanted to make sure, blah, blah, blah. So thank you, ladies at Nosy Nancy's. Great podcast.
So the other word is probably more derogatory.
Very.
Okay, yeah, no.
And I wasn't going to mention their jobs, but not every one of them is a sex worker. Some of them are highly educated women that held good jobs. And so it just goes to show that Kenneth didn't care.
Was he a opportunist killer?
Basically. Yeah. So that's Miss Brenda. She was found 3 days. Nope. Doesn't say when she was found, but that's who was identified.
Okay.
3 days.
9 miles north of Waco.
And just 3 days later, the body of another sex worker was found. She was identified as Gina Moore.
Gina Moore.
Mm-hmm. In December of 1991, Kenneth was driving around looking for drugs. He then saw Colleen Reed washing her car.
Oh my gosh.
So there's Colleen.
Yeah, there's Colleen.
And the reason I mentioned earlier that I wasn't going to mention their jobs, but other than to show, Kenneth just looked for crime of opportunity, she was an accountant. So he didn't have just one.
Nope, very opportunist.
Yes, ma'am. Kenneth forced Colleen into his car. Although witnesses called police, Kenneth was able to rape, murder, and dump Colleen's body. So Kenneth starts working at a grocery store, and he started fascinating over one of his coworkers, Miss Melissa Northrup.
Cutie.
Yes, ma'am. Not only was she a co-worker, but her husband was the store manager. He made several comments about robbing the store and taking Melissa.
She was pregnant.
Yes, ma'am.
That's a double murder. Wow. 51 days later.
Made several comments about robbing the store and taking Melissa. Now, the co-workers that heard this told the store manager, because, Melissa is his wife.
Uh-huh.
And he did switch the schedule to where she would not be working with him. However, this old schedule was already out, so she had to finish that schedule before the new one started.
Oh, and probably he knew the schedule was going to get changed, and he just had to act on those urges.
One night, Melissa didn't come home. An investigation launched immediately. A witness identified Kenneth in the area of the abduction, as well as where Colleen, the accountant, had been abducted.
So they saw him at the car wash?
Well, they saw him in the area.
Well, what does that have to do with anything?
It just places him close by. And
okay.
It's weird. He was close by to where the
Colleen?
accountant was, and he was also close by where Melissa was when they both went missing.
Okay.
So, about a month later, Melissa's body was discovered along with the body of another sex worker, Valencia K. Joshua. Valencia, and it's about to tie this all together, was last seen because she had been hired by Kenneth for a job.
Mm-hmm.
Was last seen looking for his apartment at the apartment building he lived at.
In Arlington. No, she was a native.
She was a native of Arlington. This is all around the Waco area.
I didn't know TSTI was down there.
In Waco?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Their campus is still open.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Um,
And what was he going to college for?
Mechanics. Mechanical work.
Mm. Mm. Okay,
So-
so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay.
9. Remember, she was pregnant. 9.
Actually 10. Because of the one that he said he did. They just never found a body. So that's an iffy.
That-
okay.
yeah.
9.
So Kenneth starts feeling the pressure and is like, maybe it's time for me to skedaddle out of town. So he obtains a new car, a fake ID, and fled Texas for Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay.
And he found work.
Concrete.
No. As a trash truck driver.
Oh. Kudos.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so anybody that may be listening for the first time or anybody that doesn't know, only reason I threw that in there is because that's what I do.
Now I'm curious to know, like, how many, like, stalkers, rapists, that type of thing actually work for cities and sanitation, and they can stalk them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's very. I
gosh, that's
sometimes
creepy.
I sometimes feel weird because like when I'm going up and down an alley, I like looking in folks' backyard, not for stalking purposes.
I would hope not.
But like just, hey, that's a cool idea. Maybe we can do that in our backyard. Or I like how they got their pool set up. Maybe just for ideas.
Yeah.
But like one day, I remember, and I probably wasn't staring for like 30 seconds, but I was like, man, it felt like I was there for 5 minutes, you know. And I looked over and I saw a lady sitting in the backyard, and I was like, whoop. I felt real weird. Then I later found out that was the chief of police of the house. I was like, whoa.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You creeper.
Yeah. So.
Oh, well. Anyway, that was just a side thought that I had. Like, how convenient for them.
Exactly. I mean, perfect job, actually.
Yeah.
And
they would know how to dispose of the body.
That's right. That is right. Not long after Melissa's body was found, Kenneth was profiled on America's Most Wanted. Just one day later, after that episode aired, one of his coworkers called the cops and said, "You want me to tell you where you can find this Kenneth McDuff guy?"
Good for this dude.
That's what I'm always saying. You see something, you say something.
I am happy he did this.
Yeah. With the arrest, Kenneth became America's Most Wanted 208th capture.
Good.
So he is arrested. He's brought back to Texas. He tells them, "I didn't do any of this, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. I'm innocent." So it goes to trial. During the trial, he was very disruptive. He tried to defend himself, which did not work out well. And just in the first day, the judge said, you're going to have a court-appointed attorney. We'll put trial off till he can kind of catch up, blah, blah, blah. Take him away.
Oh, wow.
So he gets his court-appointed attorney. The trial starts. And shockingly, to him, but not to the rest of the world, he was found guilty.
Wow. He
And-
really thought he'd get away with it.
And was sentenced to death. Now this becomes the second, the more you know.
Whoa.
The only man in U.S. history to be sentenced to death row twice is Kenneth McDuff.
Well, you know, I was going to say, I don't think he deserves that title, and yet, yeah, he does.
He earned it.
He earned it. He earned it double. We
Yeah.
should have to do it twice then.
Exactly.
Like, not complete it the first time, and then, like, that second time, really get it.
So all this time, the body of Colleen Reed had not been found. So for 6 years, they're unknown where her remains are. And less than a month before his execution, Kenneth, I don't know if he found God on death row. I don't know if he just,
Don't know.
there's no reason why. He sent a letter to the Texas Rangers and said, I will show you where Colleen is buried. So on October 7th, 1998, he took authorities out to where she was buried, and the remains were positively identified as Colleen's. Kenneth murdered between 9 to 14 people.
How do they know it was more than 9?
Well, they don't know,
Oh.
but there was the 2 that he bragged about,
Okay.
or that was said that he bragged about.
Okay.
There was the woman that was found just 3 days after he was paroled.
That's right.
So,
that's right. Okay.
one of the things that is always interesting to me, his last meal, he requested 2 well-done T-bone steaks with all the trimmings. He did not receive 2 well-done T-bone steaks. He received 2 hamburger steaks with all the trimmings.
They didn't want to pay for a T-bone?
I guess they said he wasn't worth it.
Oh.
His last words were, I'm ready to be released. Release me.
Okay. Alrighty.
And so on November 18th, 1998, the state of Texas did execute Kenneth Allen McDuff using lethal injection.
There you go.
Nobody claimed his remains, and he is buried at the Huntsville Cemetery on the prison grounds.
Wow. So his family totally like,
Just identified by his inmate number. Doesn't even have his name on the marker. Just his inmate number.
Sad deal, dude. Like, I pray there was some mercy on God's side.
Yes, ma'am.
Other than that, there's like, sorry about your luck, man.
You made that bed. You need to lay in it now.
Yep.
So that is serial killer Kenneth Allen McDuff, the Broomstick Killer.
Okay. Well, you know, I'm kind of not glad that came out all wrong. I was thinking something worse with this broomstick. So. Yes.
I got you.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah. We don't need to go into details about it, but you know,
Right.
people are terrible.
Very. So my bibliography for this week, murderpedia.com by Kenneth McDuff. Excellent article in TexasMonthly.com, Free to Kill, talking about him getting paroled.
Yup.
And then a new website that I found this week that is pretty cool called crimemuseum.org.
Ooh.
The Broomstick Killer is the name of that article. And that is Kenneth Allen McDuff.
Kenneth Allen McDuff.
One of Texas' least finest. So, Teach, what is my score for this week?
Well, I would give you another 8 because that was pretty good. You're doing really awesome on these.
Oh, heck. You're biased.
No, but I mean, not that I wanted to learn any of this, but you know.
It was something you didn't know before, huh?
Yeah, I knew nothing about this man.
All right, shaking up the bowl to see what next week is.
All right. Dum, dum, dum. Serial killer.
Serial killer again. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think I have one lined up.
Awesome.
Now, Teach is going to be going out of town. So, I don't know if there will be an episode this week. I'm kind of working on some things. Maybe get a substitute in here for Teach. I talked to our son, Sam, and he was like, that's not my thing. So, we'll just see what happens. We may have an episode this week. We may put it off and have it the following.
Okay.
But we will be back with you with an unknown serial killer or a less known serial killer. Mm-hmm. Watch out for deer as you're traveling up and down the highways.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And don't be a douche canoe. Broomsticks are used for more than strangulation.
Yeah. Dude, that sounded bad. Yeah.
So,
I don't know that you needed to put douche canoe and a broomstick in the same.
I need to work on stuff like that.
Yes, because then it is like, wait.
Yeah. Be kind to each other.
Yes.
Don't murder anybody.
No, don't do that.
And but do keep listening to Hard Lessons. You can find us on Spotify, iHeart. I'm told Amazon Music, but I haven't found it on Amazon Music. And we are on YouTube. Audio only, no video.
Yeah, y'all don't want to see us.
We're just too handsome and pretty. That's all you'd want to think about is us.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right, classmates. Y'all have a great week.
Class is dismissed.